right, welcoming everyone into Villanova's Wildcat Spotlight. Let's see here. Give it a minute for everyone to join. Here we go. All right. And we've got a few more people coming into the call. This is wonderful. It's a fantastic Wednesday evening here in Ojai, California and other areas with our wonderful panelists calling in. And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Wildcat Spotlight series, focusing on our visual and performing arts program. As we do with all classes and gatherings, let us first begin with a prayer. Let us pray. Direct, we beseech you, O Lord, and all our actions by your holy inspirations. Carry them out by your gracious assistance, so that every prayer and good work of ours may always begin from you and by you, be happily ended through Christ our Lord. May all gathered here today, as well as all members of the Villanova family, be kept safe from the COVID-19 pandemic that sweeps over our world. And may we all continue to seek truth, unity, and love in a world torn apart by division, that we all may become one in Christ. We ask this through our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler Hart, and I'm the Director of Admission here at Villanova Preparatory School. I wanted to thank you for joining us this evening as we talk about one of our more popular programs of our academic environment, the visual and performing arts opportunities here at Villanova. Our panelists this evening consist of 3 Villanova faculty members and a current student. I'm thankful to be joined tonight by these members of our Wildcat community. Dr. Sloan Hoffman is the chair of our Visual Performing Arts Department. Mr. Andre Fox is a Villanova teacher whose expertise is in photography and film production. Ms. Casey Grant is a visual arts teacher here at Villanova. Errol Sullivan is a current senior. Welcome to all of you. Dr. Hoffman, would you please talk a little bit about your background to start us off?
Sure. Hello, good evening. Welcome. I apologize for my lighting. I'm in a dark hotel room in Montana with my daughter, so an interruption might be inevitable, but we'll get through. My name's Dr. Hoffman, and I am in charge of all the performing arts at Villanova. So whether you're interested in music or theater, that's I'm your person. And I've been at Villanova, I think this is my 8th, it's either my 8th or 9th year. I'm losing track, but I'm coming up on a decade. And prior to coming to Villanova, I was a professional French horn player. That's what my degrees are in, is in French horn performance, but I also have done a lot with jazz and commercial voice. And I have about 20 years of experience preparing students in the performing arts for college auditions. That's one of my main expertise and part of what I bring to Villanova, aside from the fun stuff, which is doing the theater productions and preparing students for talent shows and IB music recitals and karaoke competitions and all the things we have going on at Villanova.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hoffman. That was fantastic. Sure. Mr. Fox, please tell us a little bit about your background, what you do here at Villanova.
Yeah, so I'm Mr. Fox. I teach film and photography here at Villanova. This is my 5th year as a teacher here, but I've been doing this I've been teaching for, what is it? It's my 16th year, I believe, teaching. So I started off in college with video production, but over the years have gone into photography as well. I've been working in the field for a long time and running my video production and photography business as well, doing every different kind of video and photography you can imagine over the years, for big companies, for small companies, and just for individuals, portraiture, things like that. So I love it, and I love being able to share the practical skills with my students.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. And Miss Grant, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Miss Grant. I'm an art teacher at Villanova. I teach art, north, and culture, ceramics, and the IB Art HL 1 and 2. That's a 2-year class. I have the privilege of teaching in the new art center, which is in the middle of campus. It's a beautiful, big new building. And I've actually been at Villanova for 6.5 years, so a little shorter than Sloan. We came in at just about the same time. So I'm a little bit after her, after Dr. Hoffman. And before Villanova, I actually taught at a private art school up north in Folsom, California. And I have done many different things, such as work as an intern at the DeRosa Art Preserve up in Napa. And I've been a part of film festivals like the Napa Sonoma Film Festival up north. And I've just dabbled in everything from photography to mural painting to oil painting and kids book and custom dog illustrations. So a little bit of everything.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Miss Grant. And Errol, tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience here at Villanova, and you are currently a senior, so in the throes of college applications and now the wonderful waiting game.
My name is Errol. I've been here at Villanova for 4 years. My older sister was there for 4 years as well. She graduated the year before I came in. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I have had a lot of really, really cool experiences. I was a member of the SBIFF, or the Santa Barbara International Film Festival's 2019 Rosebud program, which was like an independent film studies program through them. And then I also was an intern at last year's festival in the PR department with another student, Atticus Fair. I am also like a musician. I play piano and bass guitar, and I've been composing music for about 4 years now. And I hope to make soundtracks for films, as well as hopefully someday get to direct my own films. And I've just finished making about a 37-minute film with another student here, like I mentioned before, Atticus Fair. And we've submitted it to about 12 or 13 festivals. So a lot of really cool things have been happening recently. I'm currently looking at USC, NYU, and Pratt as my top choices for film school. And yeah, that's everything with me.
Some wonderful momentum so far. That's fantastic to hear. You said 37 minutes?
Yeah, it's a 37-minute film.
All right, looking forward to that. So let's go ahead and jump right into the question and answer forum. And for the attendees of the webinar and broadcasting across Facebook Live, any questions you got, if I'm able to field them in time and pass them to the panelists, please invite you to go ahead and put that into the Q&A portion of this Zoom webinar. So let's go ahead and get to it. Dr. Hoffman, could you please provide us with an overview? What are the classes that students can take at Villanova?
Oh, we have quite a long list and growing. In the performing arts, we have ukulele ensemble. That's a pretty popular elective for students. It's also an outreach group. So we do a lot of public performance in a normal year, obviously. We go into schools and play, we play in public. We host a big ukulele jam that usually would have a couple hundred people on campus all playing the ukulele together. We have the Art of Theater, which is for aspiring actors, but also for students who just want a fun elective to take. What else do we have for performing arts? We have music theory and non-Western music, which is a really fun class if you really want to get. Errol's taken that class. He's currently in IB music with me. That's a fun class. You don't have to be able to play an instrument. It's just for anyone who really enjoys music, as is our IB music. It's part of the International Baccalaureate program. That's where we really dig into music and the history of Western music and continue looking at non-Western music. And the great thing about our performing arts, well, all of our classes actually, regardless of performing or visual, is you don't have to have had a background in it. You can just come in and say, I'm interested, and you learn it. And we've found some really talented people in that process. As far as visual arts, we have Mr. Fox and Ms. Grant are gonna have to help me if I forget any. We have art and Western culture. That's generally, you can take that as a standalone, or it is what you take to prepare yourself for the IB music higher level class, or I'm sorry, IB art higher level. We have ceramics, and that's all your core classes. But Miss Grant also does animation and anime as a part of a club, right? Yes. All right. And then we have computer and digital design with our teacher, Ms. Cotty. That's also very, very popular. You get to do all these cool things on the computer design wise. And then Mr. Fox teaches photography and film, and we added a film portfolio this year, which is for those who are more interested in really developing their film skills and creating a portfolio for college, so they can take that. Oh, we did add this year guitar ensemble, and we'll be continuing that because students have been very interested in that. And did I miss anything? I think that's all of our course offerings at this point and going into next year.
When the guitar ensemble, it just felt so natural after kind of the introduction through the ukulele ensemble to offer kind of that year 2 opportunity for some of our students. Thank you very much for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this question I want to pose to each of the teachers on the panel. Is there a particular skill level that is required for a student to enroll into these classes?
I just spoke. Do you want to start, Ms. Grant, with your visual arts?
Sure. So for my ceramics and art and Western culture classes, you don't need any prior history. You don't need any prior knowledge. Those are both beginning classes, and you could also have already had some knowledge, and I will have the opportunity for you to showcase your higher skills within that beginning level class. But ceramics and art and Western culture, those are both beginning level. Anyone can come in. For my IB art, visual art, you want to at least have some prior knowledge of art so you can really be prepared for the class. We recommend taking art and Western culture first, and or having a portfolio showing your knowledge of drawing skills and just basic art skills to be prepared for the class.
Yeah, how about your classes, Mr. Fox?
Yeah, for film and photography, the first year classes there, you don't need any prior knowledge. You can come in knowing nothing about photography or film, and I'll teach you from the ground up. And we'll go through, everything you need to know, and you'll feel very comfortable as we progress along throughout the year. And by the end of the year, you'll look back and you'll see how far you've come, and you'll feel like an expert at that point. For the film portfolio class, we do want you to have taken the prior film class. It's for those who really want to step up their game, go further, create a portfolio. But even if you don't want to pursue film, on the college level, you can still be creating a portfolio for, a website, or showing your skills that way. If you want it more as a hobby, that's fine too. All we ask is that you come ready to create, ready to put in the work, and love the process as it goes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fox. Let's get the students' perspective from this. So this next question is for Errol. Errol, can you tell us some of the classes that you've been involved in here at Villanova?
Yeah, totally. I've only taken official classes, like not H periods and all that stuff with Doc Hoff, but I've been fortunate enough to work with the other teachers in this call in different ways. Miss Grant helped with obviously the set design and like the painting for the musicals, which I was a part of. And Mr. Fox, I helped with the Wildcat Weekly last year, which was a little video series that Atticus Fair like started and directed. He was also, Andre worked with the film club, which helped me to, yeah, just be able to work on projects and kind of get in touch with other students and start planning for our bigger project that we just completed right now. But the classes that I've taken at Villanova were with Doc Hoff, and they were, I took art of theater sophomore year, then I took music theory and IB music right now. Oh, and I also took, I believe it was the guitar H period last year. And honestly, I learned a lot from it. It's kind of where I learned a lot of bass guitar, which I feel very fortunate because now I'm a lot better and I was able to be given that opportunity. But yeah, the classes that I actually took at Villanova, the like, full credit classes were really great. I had a really fun time in art of theater. It was just super relaxing. One of the least stressful classes I had in terms of workload, but every time I would go in, I feel like I learned on how to present myself better. IB music theory was a really, really fun class for me as well, because I love music sharing and talking about music and analyzing music. And that's basically what we do in that class. And you learn a lot of the different ways, a lot of the different things that make specific world genres and all that stuff. And it was just a really great class. And I'm currently in IB music, which I really enjoy because it's a lot more focused this year due to COVID and everything that's happened. But I get to basically work on my own solo music and show Doc Hoff my work as we get closer to submitting it to the IB and kind of trying to make a song that I'm very proud of and ready to submit. But we also get to share music and talk about music in the world and how music's used in politics and all that kind of stuff. And I've learned a lot through it. So it's been a really great experience.
So it sounds like you've been involved in a lot of things, both through the opportunities and the classes that you've been able to take, kind of dipping your toe in the water from a drama standpoint, and more recently musical, but then also outside of your coursework, really focusing on more kind of the film production side of things. What do you plan to pursue in college?
As I mentioned a little bit before, my dream is to potentially be a director for film. I do a bit of creative writing, and I've taken screenwriting courses outside of Villanova, and I also have some experience directing, but also I want to make soundtracks for film. I've spent, with our current film, I wrote about 15 or 16 minutes of original music just for, some of the more emotional scenes or tense scenes, all that kind of typical film score stuff. But it was a super great experience being able to work with Atticus on it. But that's what I plan to pursue. And schools like USC have really good programs within their film department for learning film scoring and all that kind of stuff. And that's super, super interesting for me.
So follow-up question then, what type of musical experience did you have, or skill rather, did you have on your first day of school as a freshman at Villanova?
Very little, actually. I've taken piano since I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I quit when I was fairly young. But freshman year during the Thomas fires, I started to get into music production, and that caused me to pick up playing piano again for the first time in like about 2 or 3 years. I got way better than I ever was at piano before by practicing on my own and working with some other people. And music production was something I picked up on my own, and I've kind of worked on throughout my entire education at Villanova and gotten better. And Doc Hoff taught us a little bit in music theory, how to use Logic Pro, which is not the software I use. I use Ableton Live most of the time. But yeah, I mean, I think Villanova is really great because you don't necessarily need to go in knowing what you want to do specifically, but there are lots of little opportunities. And just because of the nature of the school being, it's pretty prestigious, it's a little easier to get accepted in some other programs outside of school. And the way to do dual enrollment with like City College or Ventura College, I know some people do, is fairly easy. So I recommend that for people who go to Villanova. I think Villanova is great for that.
Thank you very much, Errol, for sharing. So now let's talk about the good stuff, kind of some of the favorite events or maybe the milestones, some of the activities that are put on by the arts department at large. Dr. Hoffman, could you start us off? What are some of the milestones or some of your favorite events throughout the year?
For me, I would say our theater productions, our fall play is always very fun. When I took over the program, I decided to make our theater productions all inclusive. So any student who's interested, who has the courage to come to an audition, gets to participate. A lot of those students might start out with one line freshman year, and by senior year, they're a lead in the show. I think for me, my ultimate favorite is the musical, because I get to put everything that I enjoy doing, art, music, theater, it's all in one big show. And so I get to share that with the students. And I'm also really big on having our productions really be, I like to guide the students, but ultimately the shows are theirs, and they're the ones who do all the tech. They're the ones who do the lighting. They're the ones who are out there painting the sets. One moment, please. Hey, Willa. Shh. My daughter's singing. So she's musical. I should be happy. But back to the musical. That's just the event that I look forward to, and I actually start preparing. I mean, I think the day after musical closes, I take a minute and then I'm already looking for the musical for the next year. And that's where it's in the theater productions that I see my students just come into their own and gain so much self-confidence. And we have students who even may not speak English that well get up there and they go for it and they do it, and just see that pride they have and that ownership and what they've taken on is those are the main moments for me as a teacher. Another one would be just a fun night is the karaoke competition. It's a really raucous fun time, and we have a great time in that theater for a couple hours once a year. And so that's a fun one. What else? The talent show's a good one. We get a lot of students, and it's also a great opportunity for students who may not want to formally be in a show or a class, but enjoy dancing or singing, hip hop, whatever they may do, magic, to get up there and do their thing. The big thing that we've been trying to get off the ground, and we keep having natural disasters and pandemics shut it down, would be our ukulele jam. The last 2 years, we've been slated to have around 300 ukulele players from Ventura and Santa Barbara counties come to campus to have this big ukulele great night, and we haven't been able to do it, and I'm hoping we get to do it sometime in May. Let's cross our fingers. For me, those are the big events.
I wonder what the Guinness World Record is for largest ukulele gathering.
I think it's in the thousands.
Ah, shucks. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're way off.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hoffman.
Sure.
What about Mr. Fox? What are some milestone moments for you that you really enjoy throughout the year that really highlight what, kind of your corner of campus?
Well, certainly the film festival. We've only been able to do it once. The film program is, has been created in the last 5 years by myself. So, but we had a film festival a couple of years ago, and then last year we were supposed to have it, except COVID. And but this year we are going to do a digital form of it because I really want to show the films, especially the films from last year that we didn't get to show. There's actually a film from Mr. Hart's son that I'm I don't know if you've seen it, but it's fantastic. And so I'm looking forward to showing that. So that's one of the big ones. But apart from that, in terms of after each project is done throughout, both in photography and film, I present to the class, everybody's productions, and I love being able to share that with the class and talk about them, and then they get to feed off each other's creativity, and and some of them are a little shy to have their work shown, but luckily it's an intimate group usually, and so it allows them to feel a little more comfortable and show their stuff and say, I actually created something, I made something, and I put in a lot of work, and here's the fruit of my labor. And I love being able to be part of that.
Having witnessed the film festival with my own two eyes, the simplicity of how you had that organized, from shortest clips of what the computer animation that you had your students do was maybe 3 seconds, 7 seconds, something like that, and going from shortest all the way to longest, and concluding with maybe a 13-minute short film, if I recall. The buildup, I mean, you use the phrase feed off each other's energy, and it was palpable in that particular room. Such a positive energy, and I think people were just, it was standing ovations and hooting and hollering all the way through to the very end. That was a blast.
Great.
And I look forward to that day again.
Good.
And Miss Grant, certainly last but not least, what are some milestones that really that you really admire and that highlight your the visual arts here at Villanova?
So a lot of mine overlap with Dr. Hoffman's. I also really enjoy the spring musical because even though I'm the art teacher, I really appreciate theater and film. And, as an art department, we all really appreciate all the different parts, and we respect our fellow colleagues, and we all get along. So that's really nice. And as a community, the Villanova community, as you're talking about, is very supportive, right? It is a great place to display your artwork, display your musical skills, display your film, because we will be here to support you and celebrate your successes. So I think that is just one thing in general that I really admire about our school. So in addition to the spring musical, I always look forward to, as well, the karaoke competition. I'm usually a judge for that. It's a really fun night. We've had everything from Russian opera to Disney songs in multiple languages, and just it's always really a fun night. Again, very supportive and fun for both day and dorm students. That's a really great event for just everyone on campus. As well, we have had before art nights that combine both art made by art students, everything from photography to ceramics to paintings and things, and we usually combine that with musical performances as well. And in the past, we've also had shows in the Santa Paula Art Museum showcasing our student artworks. I would love to do that again. We have been, again, stopped by natural disasters recently, but I would love to restart that tradition, as well as some sort of an arts night. And one of the biggest nights for art during the year is usually in the spring, typically done in March. We have our senior IB Art Year 2 art exhibition, and that's one of our big art shows that we invite the whole school to. And we have food, and the seniors have been working for 2 years on their artworks that are in a theme, and it is really practicing art in a professional way and getting to share all their hard work with the community. So it's a really great event.
Yeah, the exhibition I know is top of the list for many of the members of the community, and particularly, really for the parents of some of the students who they know that their students have put blood, sweat, and tears into the portfolio that they have built under your guidance. So, a wonderful event. One aspect of the arts faculty here at Villanova that I truly admire is the fact that every teacher is also a paid professional beyond their role here at Villanova. So honing your skills and the fact that you are active in each of your kind of respective industries. It is simply wonderful that our students are able to learn from the experts. So what are some of the skills that our students acquire? Mr. Fox, let's go ahead and start with you with the digital photography and the film side of things.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Okay, so let's start off with film then. I mean, with film, there's just so many skills that you learn. Obviously, just how to handle a camera, how to hold a camera in a way that's not going to create shaky footage, and how to adjust the camera in manual settings, on manual settings, as opposed to just switching it to automatic and let the camera do its thing. Learning to use the camera creatively, learning to frame, learning to light a scene, learning to take crystal clear audio with the variety of mics that we have. And then, of course, editing. Editing is such a large process of film production. And so we have our Mac lab with our new iMacs, 32 gigabytes of RAM on those. So these are nice machines, and I teach my film class Final Cut 10, Apple's professional editing software, which is a beast if you look beyond, like look underneath the menus. On the surface, it may look, simple, but there's just so many hidden menus that open up just an infinite amount of creative tools. And then of course, the students do have access to the entire Adobe suite. So they have access to Premiere and After Effects. Yeah, so, and then let's see, for photography, I mean, once again, the school has photography cameras that we lend to the students, and they get to, see hands-on how to manipulate these the cameras on manual settings, and switch out lenses, use a variety of lenses. I mean, the list goes on with, and then of course, editing the photos in Lightroom. So Adobe Lightroom, the professional photo editing software. And yeah, gosh, I could probably go on for a long time listing all the different skills. But hopefully at the end, they have real hands-on practical skills for creating in both film and photography. And I like to teach them, the street skills that I learn, that I pick up in my practice of filming and doing photographs for a variety of companies and customers and individuals.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Fox, a wealth of knowledge. And Dr. Hoffman, what about kind of some of the technical skills with regard to some of the music classes that we offer here at Villanova and beyond?
I would say most of our students come in maybe with an advanced beginner, intermediate at the most, or no knowledge of music. And the great thing about our program is because we can differentiate and we can have students who have more advanced skills in the same class with the beginner. I have seen those beginning students sometimes overtake the ones who have been studying all of their elementary and middle school years if they just take to it and really put in that time with it and they get that spark. Not only with playing an instrument or singing, but also with the Logic Pro software, learning how to create digital music. Errol's giving a thumbs up. I teach people who have never thought of creating a song how to do it, and just give them the technical skills they need to use that software, which is a professional level quality software. And I have 2 students this year who had never done it their first time ever using Logic Pro was last August, was a year and a half ago, and they're both applying to college programs and have a pretty solid chance of getting into some great schools. Errol would too, but he's going for film instead of music. But and then as far as music goes, if you take the music theory class, you're going to get about a college freshman level music major knowledge of music theory. Maybe just shy of that. We don't get into some of the advanced stuff that you might, but you're going to be able to analyze music pretty well and really understand how it functions. And forever hear music in a different way. I think all of my students have told me. I still get emails from students who took music theory a couple of years ago. I was in the grocery store and I heard this song, and they knew whether it was major or minor and that it modulated. So you get that sort of thing. First, basically, any student who's interested can just really enjoy music and theater at Villanova. For those students who think, oh, they really want to do that in college, and they indicate that to me, that's when I get them in the boot camp and we start honing their skills. And to date, we've had 5 graduates. 3 are still currently at the Berklee College of Music. We have students at University of Illinois, Syracuse. We've had students get into USC, UCLA, and some other, I could continue on some programs. So we've had students go on to have a lot of success. One is currently a graduate of ours from 6 years ago, is currently a producer, and he produced the song that was #1 on Spotify in 2019. So we have some great alumni out there in the music world right now.
Roxanne. Okay. And that's all you get from me. Thank you very much, Doc Hoffman. Yeah. And Ms. Grant, what about kind of the technical skills with regard to visual art?
Yes, so we learn a whole bunch of different skills under the fine arts umbrella. Everything from art portfolio skills. If I know a student is, again, serious, similar to what Dr. Hoffman was saying, they're serious about what they want to do, and I know that they want to go to art school in the future, I'll get them ready as soon as possible building an art portfolio. And I'll actually help students. I've been helping 2 seniors this year that are interested in different design, like fashion design, illustration, and some other creative majors in high school, for college. And I will help them apply to the art school and the art discipline that they are specifically thinking about, because a fashion design portfolio is very different from an architecture portfolio. I have had several students go to college for architecture. I actually had one email me last year about how much they're enjoying architecture school and how well it was going for them. And that was just really great to hear, because the student was very shy and somewhat of an underdog to begin with. So I'm just very, very proud of them and how they're doing in college. I think they're really starting to blossom and like find themselves. One of my students went to the Parsons New School of Fashion Design in New York, and she's also doing very well. So I like to hone those art portfolio skills and help them find their spot. In addition to that, we learn about art criticism and discussing art. That is a very important skill to have. And just all different art studio skills, from watercolor to acrylic painting to oil painting, and including more technological art, including digital art. And we also talk about things like installation art. And we recently, with my seniors, we learned about ephemeral art, which is art that lasts only for a little bit of time. So I really like to encourage them to find what they're best at, and I encourage them to experiment in different art mediums and not just sticking to the traditional ones. But it's also good to have that base of traditional knowledge, drawing and painting, right? That is very, very important, because especially if you're going to go to art school, you're going to do the traditional stuff along with the new age digital art stuff as well. I also do ceramics, which was not my forte in college. I did take it a few times, and honestly, I like it a lot more now that I'm teaching it than when I took it as a student. So I've learned a lot as a teacher. You know, we're always learning. We're all excited about each other's art disciplines, and I enjoy learning about new things. I learned a lot about ceramics. And, you know, I'm not a master of ceramics, but I feel like I have a good solid base of knowledge now. I actually took a class on how to teach ceramics for art teachers, and I feel like that has helped me a lot. So you will learn in ceramics how to throw on the wheel, hand building methods, and I will teach the kids. I'm in charge of the electric kiln we have. They're not in charge of putting things in it. But I like to bring the kids in where it's safe, like, hey, you can help me load the kiln, or you can help take things out of the kiln. But as far as running it, I do all of that. But I make sure they know the process. I'm like, hey guys, this is what I did with your projects. This is how hot the kiln got. This is, you know, how long I had to wait to take it out. So they are familiar with the whole process as well, even if they don't specifically do the whole process themselves.
So can we start like a ceramics for teachers at Villanova?
I am very open to that, you know, when it's not the current situation. I'm very open to that. I've had interest for that.
The future is bright. All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grant. And let's get a student perspective. So Errol, how has your participation in the arts here at Villanova caused you to grow? In what ways have you grown?
I mean, I think it's helped me to grow in so many different ways. And I think one of the most important ones for me is definitely self-worth. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think coming into Villanova, having an older sister who kind of did everything, not arts. I mean, she did the musical and everything, but like she was, you know, a really great student, and she was captain of the water polo team and everything. But for me personally, I found a lot of personal self-gratification out of the different arts programs, including, you know, the theater program, music production and film, and working on projects with people. It helped me kind of, you know, build my self-confidence, and also just helped me find out what I love doing. And just, yeah, honestly, it just helped me to kind of figure out who I am a little bit more. And also, I mean, the arts programs are just fun. They help relieve a lot of stress. So it just, you know, I think the arts programs are great for just helping students kind of get a break from a lot of the tougher IB classes or programs or whatever they're doing, and just kind of focus on expressing themselves and finding some kind of vent.
I think it's a challenge in a different way. You know, it's an opportunity to express yourself, which, you know, sometimes is very easy to do and it's top of mind, and other times that takes a lot of kind of reflection in and of itself, looking inward before you're able to really kind of create. Now, let's see here. Dr. Hoffman, are there notable alumni who have come from the arts programs here at Villanova?
Alumni who, sure, we had Jacob Greenspan, who's the producer. He's producer with, why am I blanking on who he's producer with? But he was one of the 2 producers on Roxanne last year. And from there, he's gone on to produce with Blink-182 and a bunch of other projects that he's let me hear snippets of, but I can't talk about them because he's under contract. And I'm trying to think, we have we have an alumni who went down to AMDA for acting, and I guess he's been getting some little bit parts and little things, and that's kind of where you start as an actor, and you hope something more of it comes one day. But, you know, we also have students who are out there in the arts who have gone on to be teachers, or they are in the music industry, but they're not necessarily performers. One's going into music marketing, one's going into publishing, and the others are yet to graduate. So we'll see where their paths take them.
All right, thank you very much. And all right, Mr. Fox, it's time for some words of wisdom. These days, everyone is a photographer with the phone in their pocket. What is the first lesson that you teach students?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, and it's interesting because everybody does have these iPhones. I guess the big one that I teach right at the beginning is, you know, what is photography in the first place? What are you doing when you're taking a photograph? And I tell them, you're taking a picture of a subject. And so I have to, you know, I think a lot of times someone will whip out their iPhone and they'll take a picture, but they'll forget, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be focusing not just on everything here. I'm supposed to zone in on something specific. And then once you can do that, then you can start to tell a story about that specific subject. You know, what do you want to say as a photographer about that subject that you've got the audience's eye to zone in on? So I think that's one of the big ones. And of course, throughout most of photography, you're teaching them how do you actually get the eye to focus on that subject. And then once they are focused, what story do you tell about that subject? And then of course, with the iPhone, I do a whole lesson about how much more the DSLR cameras can do than an iPhone. Not to say that iPhones are bad. I mean, you can do some great framing with them, stuff like that. They do have something to offer for sure. But when it comes to manual settings on a DSLR, iPhones are still not close. And I get a lot of students saying, "Oh my goodness, this is incredible! I can take so much on this and do so much more creative work with this than I thought possible." And you know, and then they're asking, you know, please, can I borrow this DSLR? Because I don't want to take, you know, and this is for stuff outside of school. They'll say, I want to take pictures on a DSLR, not on my iPhone, because I can see that the difference. So yeah, that's always cool to see.
An appreciation for the next level that is often not seen by the common people, I guess.
Right, right.
All right, and let's see. So Errol, sometimes people are a little nervous to try new things. So what advice would you give a student who is nervous to try new things at Villanova?
Just go for it and do it. And if you feel self-conscious about what you're doing, just keep doing it on your own time. I think you can find a lot of self-gratification out of just doing it for yourself. And then eventually you'll come to a point where maybe you feel ready to show people. But, you know, if you're in a class and let's say you take Mr. Fox's film class and you start off and there's somebody in your class who really, really knows how to use a camera and they really, really know how to make a film or whatever, make sure that you learn and you do your best to pay attention in the class and you follow what everyone else is doing. But if you really, really enjoy it, making small projects on your own time is really what's going to take you up to a point, because the only way to get good at any of the arts is just doing it. So making sure that if you're interested in something, just taking the time out of your own life to focus on it, even if you are taking class in it, will help you get so much better at things so much quicker, and you'll feel more confident in it, and you'll be able to submit your stuff and build a portfolio you're really proud of.
Take the time to focus. I agree 100%. It really builds that energy and that momentum, and then it's exponential from there. Thank you very much for that. And last question, we're going to pass this to each of the teachers, to the faculty. For a student interested in pursuing a career in the arts, visual or performing, what advice would you give? So let's start with perhaps Mr. Fox, and then Ms. Grant, and then Dr. Hoffman.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Errol there. Just start creating now. Create, make bad art. Why? Because that's how you get to the next level. Make something, even if it's awful, and learn from that experience. Learn to just love the process itself, and then just create and create and create. It's so easy to start talking in when you're thinking about being an artist, being at that next level, having that career, to talk about it all the time, but actually doing it. Just make something, team up with friends, create. And I mean, with film, it's all about collaboration. So team up, say, hey, let's make this, let's make this, let's make this. You hear about a project going on, jump in, start making that, and that will get you so much experience. And because art is all about being hands-on and creating. It's yeah, that's it differentiates it from a science where you're learning stuff in your mind, but with art you have something that you're creating. And anyway, I'll leave it at that.
So it's my turn. I agree with everything that's been said so far. My biggest advice for students pursuing a career in the arts is practice. Practice and devote time every day, especially if you're practicing something like drawing. Draw every day, even if you do it a little bit every day, draw every day and do it intentionally. So don't draw and like do 5 other things, just draw and really focus in and give that time. To be successful in the arts, you need to have passion and drive. You have to want it, especially in a really competitive field like animation. It's really niche and very competitive. You have to want it, like really want it. Go to art school, get an internship, look at great art, go to museums, follow artists on social media, go to art conferences, make connections at those conferences, and then don't lose them. Save the business cards. You never know what will lead to a future job down the line. I have a friend who she went to SF State. She studied animation, and she also minored in theater, which is perfect for animation. And she went to an art conference, and like 2 years later, one person that she met offered her a job, and now she's a Disney Imagineer. So you never know who that one person you will meet, what job, what opportunity that will lead to down the line. So make connections, don't lose them. Save a file of business cards of connections. Make little notes after you meet a person. Make a note about the connection you made so you don't forget, and follow up with that connection. Be like, hey, I love chatting with you at this art conference. I would love to, take it to the next step. Save their emails. If you want it bad enough, a career in the arts is possible. Okay, if you have the passion and the drive, you can be successful. Okay, so that's my advice. Good luck.
Yes, to my colleagues and to Errol. Though I will go a different route and I'll say, you will find that when you announce that you want a career in the performing and visual arts, you are going to hear over and over, maybe from people in your own family, your friends, teachers. What are you going to do with that? What kind of job are you going to get with that? I think people think that you're going to end up in a parking garage in Santa Barbara off State Street busking or something. The reality is that I have 3 degrees in music, and I did just fine. I never didn't pay the bills. I always had health insurance. I've always been fine as a musician. And I think people will often think, well, you're only a success if you're Jennifer Lawrence. Well, there are thousands of actors out there who make $60, $70, $80,000 a year, and they drive a Honda, and they have kids, and they go and they to work and they do their thing. So don't be afraid, and don't listen to those people who think you're going to somehow fail at life if you decide to go into the arts, because you're not. And I don't know one person from all my years of music school who hasn't done just fine. And there's been varying degrees of monetary success, varying degrees of becoming a household name. But you can do that. And the other thing is to know that if you do go into the arts, there's a lot of things you can do with that. Maybe you end up being a music major, or you major in oil painting, but there's different ways you could end up being an interior designer. You could end up being in the film industry, but you're an attorney in the film industry, or you are a corporate executive in the music industry. There's just so many ways that you can use that degree. Other than the fact that follow your passion. I mean, why not? It's so fulfilling to go to school and have that. And, you know, I almost went to law school. And law schools are cool with the fact that I was a music major. I didn't have to go into public policy or anything like that. But then I chose not to. And so there's lots of things you can do. So don't worry about it. Just follow your passion and you'll be happy.
Well, thank you very much to each of you. So boiling down the words of the pearls of wisdom that I've just picked up: make bad art daily, scribble on business cards, follow your passion. So, oh my gosh, thank you very much, Villanova faculty and Errol. Thank you, attendees, for joining our conversation tonight. For those interested in learning more about Villanova, we encourage you to visit campus. We are open for tours. If you are unable to physically visit our campus, then we invite you to our virtual open house on Monday, January 11th. Our applications are due on February 1st for the fall of 2021 entry, and you can learn more about the admissions process by visiting our website, villanovaprep.org/apply. Dr. Hoffman, Mr. Fox, Ms. Grant, and Errol, thank you very much, panelists, for providing such a detailed overview of this particular aspect of the Villanova experience. And with that, go Wildcats. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.